Today we're going to be talking about how freshmen can get offers and get started in the recruiting process. Now, the first thing you need to think about if you are a freshman in high school and you want to play college football is your mindset, especially if you are on freshman or JV right now. Guys, the most important thing when it comes to the recruiting process is varsity film. So if you don't have varsity film, there's nothing you could really do in terms of like getting an offer right now because college coaches want to see varsity tape. Now, I know you guys probably see a lot of different, freshmen, 8th graders all over the country getting offers without varsity film, and you're probably like, well, how the hell are they able to get it? You just said that that's not going to happen unless you have varsity film. That's a totally different game. That's something called a non-committable offer, and we're going to talk about that later in this video. But what I want to get across to you guys right now is your main focus and your mindset needs to be getting better every single week. If you're in the middle of your freshman football season or JV football season, just focus on improving every week because the goal is to make varsity as fast as possible. Let's say you're a freshman, you're on freshman football, you're probably not going to play varsity this year, but if week 1 you get a little bit better, week 2 you get better, week 3 you get better, and you take that mindset of, okay, I am playing to try to play varsity football as soon as possible, suddenly you start really focusing at practice, like, okay, I'm going to improve in these mistakes, I'm going to improve on these mistakes I made from the game, and if you consistently elevate your play, it's going to make that path to varsity much easier. Now, when you have varsity film, or when you get to varsity, we're going to talk about some strategies next that you guys can use to stand out to a college coach. Now, step number 2 to be able to receive a scholarship offer as a freshman or get started in the recruiting process is going to be making an X account. X, formerly known as Twitter, is the best place for you guys to go to be able to help with, I guess you could say, just recruiting. You know what I mean? That's where college coaches go to do most of their recruiting on X. They don't necessarily go to all these different like recruiting services or these recruiting, like websites, if you will. They go to X because that's where they can directly communicate with their audience, and their audience is high school football players that they want to recruit to their school. So you need to be on that platform. Now, if you're a freshman and you don't have any film, it's going to be kind of tough to upload clips on there. That's totally fine, you guys. You want to make an X account even as a freshman. And in your bio, you want to have class of whatever, the position you play, the school that you attend, have your username be a professional username, have a profile picture that's professional, you in some type of football environment. And then all you got to do is just upload different clips of maybe you training, maybe you working out with your position coach, maybe you working out or some clips from practice, maybe some game film, etc. But you just want to have some type of social media presence. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because you can use that app to engage with college coaches that follow you. You could follow them, you could message them, and we're going to talk about that throughout the rest of this video. But you need to start out by making an X account even if you're not on varsity yet. Now, fellas, if you're a freshman and you want to play varsity football, obviously you have to put on some size. You have to be able to put on some weight. And a great way to do that is by increasing your protein intake on a daily basis. Guys, you want to try to consume at least 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. So if you're a 150-pound freshman, you probably got to get to like 160, 165 to be able to play on varsity. So you want to consume 160 to 165 grams of protein daily. And we have a great protein powder for you that can help you do that. You could take this twice a day, which will be about 60 grams of protein daily to help you out with that because, again, it's tough to reach that amount of protein intake with just food. So, guys, check out that very first link in the description below for our AG Labs Whey Protein Powder. This is just one of our great flavors. It's some of the best tasting protein on the market. This is our cookies and cream flavor, but we have other flavors that you guys can get as well. So go to that very first link in the description below. Use the promo code FIRST25, FIRST25 at checkout to get 25% off your first order. Now, tip number 3 to be able to help you get started in the recruiting process as a freshman is to reach out to the different college coaches that you've connected with on X after the football season. So let's say your freshman football season ends, you had a good season, you got called up to varsity, but you don't have any varsity film, right? There's not much you can do from a recruiting standpoint on X, like to where it's like, oh, hey, we'd like to offer you type standpoint. What you can do though is start to build relationships, and building relationships comes from DMing coaches, reaching out to them and just simply asking them questions. So like, let's say you find a coach from a university, let's say it's like, University of Illinois, for example, right? And let's say you're a wide receiver and let's say you contact their wide receiver coach and you contact him and you just go, hey coach, I'd love for you to check out my film, I want to play at your school, all this stuff. He's not going to do that, guys. Number 1, because you're a freshman, he's not going to watch freshman film. Number 2, he doesn't know who you are. That's the easiest way to get a DM unanswered, and then that's a missed opportunity on building a relationship. It's all psychology, you guys. So what you got to do is I would reach out to that coach and ask him a simple question. Any human on earth is more likely to respond to a simple question in a message than a long-ass paragraph you explaining your life story. So send him a message and ask him, hey coach, do you have any camps this off season that you are going to be attending. And that's the guy that you ultimately, if he responds, says, hey, I'm going to be at this camp, we have this camp, go to that camp, you guys. You don't got to break the bank traveling across the country, but any connection that you make via X, formerly known as Twitter, social media, you should try to meet those coaches in actual person, because now you have a dialogue on social media, you're in his messages. Number two, you meet him in person, maybe you perform really well, and then the following season you get some varsity film, and that's a contact that you could send it to. So guys, recruiting is all about relationships, especially if you don't have varsity film yet. Now, tip number 4, you guys, and this is a pretty self-explanatory one, make varsity and then get varsity film. I think a lot of guys, think that there's like some secret hack to the recruiting process. Oh, how can I go D1? How can I get an offer? At the end of the day, guys, you have to be a great football player, especially if you want to play college football at a high level, like the Division I level, Division II level, whatever. You need to be a great football player. So you need to focus on making varsity. So that should be your whole focus of the offseason. Yes, you want to reach out to college coaches. Yes, you want to build relationships with them, but you need to focus on actually developing your skills. Get bigger, get faster, improve your position skills, understand the playbook, go to every single practice so you could actually earn a starting role. And then once you get that actual varsity film, that's when you could send it out to those connections that you will ultimately see. Now, again, guys, I mentioned earlier in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about committable offers and non-committable offers. So like I said, a lot of you are probably sitting there thinking like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I know this 8th grader who has an offer. Guys, those types of offers that you see on social media when the kid's an 8th grader, doesn't have varsity film, it's all complete BS, because it's really honestly just a verbal offer. The offer is essentially a college coach sees a kid, maybe he's introduced to him by a mutual connection, and he goes, man, you might be really good, so we're going to give you an offer. So when it's time for you to make a decision to sign to a school, you remember that we were one of the first schools to offer you, and we could always say, oh, we were first on recruiting this kid. That's all the reason why they do it, but it's a verbal agreement. So that means if the kid ends up sucking, the college isn't on the hook for the offer. Or if the kid doesn't want to go to the school, the kid isn't on the hook to be able to attend that school. It's a non-committable offer. A committable offer can only be given the summer before your junior year. Legally, you guys, it's like a legal rule by the NCAA. So the summer before your junior year, that's when you could land a committable offer. That's when those offers that you see are legitimate, and usually, summer before your junior year, guys usually have about a year of varsity film. So at the end of the day, you guys, don't believe everything you see on social media. Focus on obtaining varsity film, and when you get it, that's when you got to get it to those college coaches. Now, tip number 5, you guys, and in this scenario, you're a sophomore at this point, right? Your freshman year, you focused on making varsity, focused on doing the things you need to do. You built connections on X. You went to different college camps to put a face to the name and actually meet college coaches to build relationships. Now, like we mentioned, you made varsity, you got varsity film. So now what you got to do is you got to send that varsity film to college coaches through X, but you got to do it in 2 separate parts. Number 1, after the first 5 games of your season, you need to make a highlight tape. They call it a mid-season highlight tape. So middle of the season, you should be sending that out to those college coaches' connections that you made so you could stay at the top of their inbox and stay in the forefront of their mind. And at the end of the season, after 10 games, you want to take your full season tape and hit those coaches with that again. So again, it's just a way, the mid-season tape is a way to follow up, way to kind of stay in their mind. So when the season ends and they start traveling out to different high school campuses across the country, they might attend your campus because they might have some real interest in you.